Joining the military is a big decision that a lot of people struggle with, and I think that's because there's a lack of good information about what the military climate looks like today and what it can offer you. I want to give you an insider's perspective of what you can expect from this potential lifelong and rewarding career. To start, let's quickly hit some of the entry requirements so you know what to prep for if you haven't applied yet. The basics when joining the US or Canadian militaries are very similar, but I will point out a few key differences. Let's go. To join either military, you must be at least 17. However, at 16, you may be able to begin certain paid educational courses with parental consent. Interestingly, the US Army does have an age cutoff for joining, which sits around 35. In Canada, hey, we're just happy you're under 57 and actually showed up. Both countries prefer a high school diploma, but in the US, it may not be a deal breaker depending on your choices and the recruiter's decision. Now, the US is known for having a much stricter stance on physical fitness, and this may bar you from entry if you fail. Poor fitness can also see you ejected from their service once you're in. In Canada, hey, thanks for showing up. Just so happy you're here. We're going to put you through a set of physical challenges that mimic basic soldiering activities and maybe throw you in the pool with your boots on for 2 minutes. Now keep in mind, any severe medical issues may restrict you from service. You can't plug in your sleep apnea machine when on patrol in the desert. Screening or background checks will be done to ensure you became psychotic later in the military and not when we first admitted you. Finally, and most importantly, an aptitude test will determine what trades you can qualify for and enter. The Canadian Forces aptitude test is multifactorial and includes verbal skills, spatial ability, and problem-solving components. For the US, it's the Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery Test, and this is likewise used to determine a recruit's aptitude in 10 different areas. Now, regardless of what you've heard about these tests, it's definitely worth your time to research the online guides and study for them, as they bring unique challenges you may not have experienced before. Now, at this point, you are almost ready to enter a specific trade, but you shouldn't rush this choice. You may soon regret it after joining. You should absolutely speak to someone in the trade you are considering. This will ensure you grasp a clear picture of the gritty details, like where you may be sent and what your day job might look like. Somewhere along the way, you will most likely speak to a career counselor or conduct an in-depth interview with a recruiter. So if you don't know someone doing the job you want to do, ask to be set up with someone in the trade who can give you first-hand details, and even better if they can take and show you as a visitor. Don't take the word from a recruiter who may have spent his career in a tank what the day-to-day for a public affairs officer looks like. There are also plenty of official day-in-the-life videos for most military occupations, and a wealth of people online offering their pros and cons from their time in. Back to the interview. You should look sharp and come prepared with your job history, including references, education, and even your achievements. The military may always be looking for applicants, but that doesn't mean there isn't competition for the specific position that you want. So what do you want to do? Do you want to join the Marines? Do you want to be a medic, but specifically in the Air Force branch? Or how about a military police officer? The position and trade need to be open, otherwise you may be gently directed toward one that is currently struggling to recruit. Remember, this is your choice and you haven't signed anything yet. Ask about the pros and cons from someone in the job. Does it offer specialist pay? Does it include paid training that carries over to civilian work? Or perhaps this new trade offers more deployment opportunities. Now, the Reserve Force may also have open positions where you can start in your preferred trade. This allows you to begin training with your foot in the door, and in most cases, you can then transfer over to full-time active duty when a position becomes available. Where the reserves are considered a part-time commitment, the active duty or regular force is for those looking to sign a contract of several years service. This choice will commit you to completing certain training and even deployments. Expect to be away from home a good amount in your first contract. It is also common to be regularly moved to different locations for service, either somewhere foreign or domestic. Now, this requirement to move locations can be seen as an attractive aspect for young or non-committed individuals, but it is often something that the seasoned troops who have roots attempt to avoid. Career soldiers will attest that they've moved multiple times to go where they are needed. If you have family or other business in an area, this may be taken under consideration, but there are no guarantees in the military, and all promises should be taken with a bit of skepticism. If you want regular paychecks on a salary with top priority for training and opportunities to move around and deploy, then drink the Kool-Aid and become a full-time soldier. The Reserve Force is a nice middle ground, and in Canada, our military couldn't function as it does without having these part-time warriors. years. In the reserves, you can still qualify to the same level of training as the regular force, but this will be delivered in several shorter installments. This is one of the many adjustments made to the reserve training to make it more digestible for those who have civilian employment. You can expect the military to use the reserve force for domestic deployments like environmental disasters, pandemic responses, or when a local government makes a request for aid. People will choose the reserve option when they want a taste of something different, when they are seeking a new skill or even some excitement, but still want to maintain their established day job. Others just like the added freedom of choice. I consider the main benefit of the reserves to be that they get to pick and choose their career progression and timeline. They can accept contracts that last years and place them alongside active duty troops wherever they serve. Or instead, they can just work a minimum of days and only commit to interesting opportunities. The downside here is that there may not always be that work readily available, and you will require the same level of training when you want to augment the regular force. This usually takes longer to achieve, and many argue reservists have less opportunities. And in general, that may be true. Overseas deployments only usually have a few slots for reservists, leaving the majority of them for the full-timers, and rightly so. Now, after you decide how far down the rabbit hole you want to go, it's time for basic training. On average, this is about 10 weeks long either side of the border, and the experience will depend on many variables like your location, chosen branch, and the individual instructors you are gifted. The takeaway here is that the boot camp experience has been evolving from what you may think, and the old guard with their trademark jaded style of training, like what you may have seen in the movies, is becoming exceedingly rare. The military standards today are expected to restrict candidate hazing in favor of a more critical thinking and developmental approach.
We want the soldiers to become more critical thinkers. At that point, we are turning into more coaches and mentors.
My advice is that you still show up already in good shape, along with the mental fitness and attitude required to overcome stressful new challenges in a teamwork environment. Hopefully, it brings out new and positive aspects of your character, while also testing some of your limits. After basic, trade-specific training will follow, and this will be whatever you chose to do. For example, the infantry will receive additional training and warfighting courses designed to teach them to close with and kill their enemy, not something a clerk will generally need. You will quickly begin to earn certain privileges with increased recognition as you progress in your career. This usually takes the form of better accommodations, more desirable duty taskings, and increased basic freedoms. Additional advanced learning opportunities will become abundant as the military tries to shape you to become as useful as possible. Afterwards, you will be sent to a base or location with a unit that requires your skills. Here you can again pick and choose your path. Become a wallflower and conduct the minimum of what is required of you to stay out of trouble and collect a paycheck. Or you can set a high bar for yourself and attempt to move up the chain in the hopes of earning further rank and responsibility. The beauty of the military is that it's not uncommon to see troops spend 20 years happy and carefree as a career corporal, or likewise, hear that someone from your basic training class has excelled upwards in a short period of time. Joining the military is considered a professional career that many people join for many different reasons. Some remain tied to the service for decades and wouldn't have it any other way, while others will request an early release from their first contract, and these are not always successful. A boatload of changes have been made to modernize the US and Canadian militaries in an attempt to keep these trained, expensive soldiers from exiting, and if I can sum up this effort, I would describe it as a positive shift to address common quality of life issues within the working military. This career can encapsulate most aspects of your life, and sometimes this is to the point of feeling smothered. You will get a taste of this in your early years, and certainly if you choose to live on base in cheaper military housing or spend long periods in the barracks undergoing training. There can be a heavy presence of rigid conformity and discipline constantly weighing over some people, and day after day, this can just burn them out. If you are worried you may be in the minority, I will also mention that any harassment or sexism is completely prohibited, and there is a massive push for a more diverse and inclusive fighting force, and gone are the days of the old boys club, mostly. Check out our Women in Combat video for more details on that. More radical changes are expected to continue. These days, the military is filled with educated and savvy people looking for a little excitement, and the military knows they have other options. These quality of life changes may keep you in the military, but it's often the large joining bonuses or the substantial healthcare benefits and educational grants that bring many people in to serve. As for pay, the raises have also been consistent and come with each promotion becoming a good incentive to rise in the ranks. Beside these benefits, this, let me offer you my best advice. I want you to pick a trade that you not only find interesting, but one that will provide you with education that can carry on to civilian employment. A job as an image technician, medic, or pilot can not only be rewarding, but set you up for down the road. You shouldn't also overlook the technologist positions or the blue-collar careers such as electrician. You could leave armed with the experience to start your own business, and many achieve the training to do just that. Okay, let's talk a bit more about why people leave the military. This can be a high-stress job. You will have supervisors in charge of you with real power compared to the civilian world. Not all of them will be great leaders. They can tell you to complete insignificant tasks with a level of precision that borders insanity. If you decide not to listen or complete the task to their satisfaction, there can be real consequences. Extra work or fines as punishment are commonplace for military screw-ups, and can go as far as temporary loss of your freedom, such as confinement to base or even military prison. The fact is, you should join expecting at some point to be yelled at by another grown adult to the point where you start to wonder if you are actually a man baby in disguise. Another certainty is that there will be long periods of boredom regardless of where you go and what you do. There is an upside to all of this, and it's that you will confront these hardships together with your fellow troops, almost in a begrudgingly enjoyable way, and with bonds that will form and last for a lifetime. You can expect to become part of something bigger than yourself that can offer tangible job satisfaction where you can see your results firsthand. This of course comes along with pride and respect from your family and community. If you are still considering this career path, know that most complaints from new soldiers are often tied to their unrealistic expectations that they may have joined with. For the rest of us who are still serving, if we could do it again, we would only change like 5, maybe 8, maybe 8 to 10 things if we could do it over again. Anyway, ask your questions down below, and thanks for watching.